Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend, and most importantly, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and hit the bell notification. Your time and energy is very much appreciated here. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a bombshell. I basically found out the truth in regards to a certain story that was reported a few weeks ago. But I'm going to start it like this. There's been a lot of chatter on various platforms in regards to the information and the truth and facts that I've been bringing to you, basically trying to smear me or discredit me, which is basically impossible, because when you talk about what I've talked about or anything of that sort, you're basically talking about the facts. You're not dealing with me as a personality. You're dealing with the information. And once again, like I said, you really can't debate facts or debunk facts unless you have evidence basically to the contrary and proving what I said was wrong. And so I'm going to get right into it. We were, like I said, blessed with an interview by the $1 million worth of game, Gillian Wallow. And I'm going to basically get right into it now so that you understand the depths of what this is and what this means. You know, sometimes people can say things and get away with it because we believe who they are, the stature that they had, or the influence that they had, positions that they once had, and so on and so forth, which is to be respectful. Like I said, in dealing with Suge Knight was Suge Knight. Can't take nothing away from him. He did what he did, death row, the whole 9 yards, and all of those things. But the facts and the truth of the matter and surrounding that are still the facts, even though those two can exist at the same time. Suge can be who he was, but the facts behind everything and the truth behind everything can also be what they are. You know, those two can coexist in the same space. So what I'm gonna do is this. So basically, Suge Knight told Gillian Wallow that he had gave Tupac $1 million in a briefcase, and you know, once he got out of jail and he got back in the studio. But I'm gonna read it verbatim. I'm gonna read it to you right now. So check this out. So Suge Knight says basically, so when Pac get there, I sent the private plane and the limo to pick him up and all that shit. We get to the studio and I give him a briefcase with $1 million cash in it. I give him all this jewelry, all this shit, he said. When asked about the company's origins, he claims he came up with the idea of death row, but did admit to knowing Michael Harry O'Harris. I did know Mike from through my attorney. We had some conversations about doing some things, but at the same time, no one had some real money to do nothing. I did all that shit on my own, Suge explained, right? So now, that's Suge Knight basically saying that around let's say October 12th, 1995, that he had gave Tupac $1 million in cash in a briefcase, right? I found information that was basically disseminated to the public in 1997, in which the lawyer for Tupac at that particular time, and I'm going to give you, because Tupac basically had lawyers watching lawyers, if you will. You know, a lot of people don't know that Tupac was smart. You know, a lot of people talk that, he had lawyers watching lawyers, but Tupac Shakur actually had lawyers watching lawyers. And I'm going to get into this to show you the misrepresentations that people still continue to do today on these various platforms, basically outright lying when they can't present you with any other kind of factual information other than what they're saying out of their mouths. And like I said, so I'm gonna get right into it. And this is basically the information that contradicts the statement that Suge had gave on $1 million worth of game. Listen, David Kenner began to represent Tupac as his entertainment lawyer and his lawyer for civil and criminal cases in California. But Tupac asked Charles Ogletree to continue to represent him as well. Ogletree told me he repeatedly wrote letters to Death Row asking to see the contract Tupac signed with Death Row in prison and to negotiate a formal contract under more conscionable circumstances. But all of his efforts, he said, were met with silence, diversions, and outright misrepresentations. Now, this is Tupac's lawyer, Mr. Ogletree, who was basically, if you want to say, was kind of overseeing what Tupac business was, even though David Kenner had been hired on as his entertainment lawyer and, like you said, lawyer for the civil and criminal cases in California. Mr. Ogletree was a trusted source and had been around Tupac for a while. And so basically he's saying that, when he was trying to, find out the situation with the contract and trying to get them to do what they were supposed to do and write up a more conscionable contract, basically a real one for Tupac, he was met with diversions and outright misrepresentations. But it goes a little further than that, right? Mr. Ogletree also said Ogletree was also handicapped in his efforts to carry out Tupac's instructions to settle some of his numerous civil lawsuits. This is where it gets important. Tupac came out of jail with no money. I'm going to say that one more time. This is from Tupac's attorney, y'all. He has no reason to lie. This was way before Suge Knight recently came out and made that statement. So this has been on the public record for a while now. Once again, Tupac came out of jail with no money. He would say, I want to take care of this case. The lawyer basically said, I would negotiate a settlement. He would say, good, Death Row has my money. Tell them to send the check. When the check didn't come, Ogletree continued, I would call Kenner. He would say, it's in the mail. Then, when it never arrived, he would say he was sending it FedEx. Then, when it didn't arrive, he would say he'd wire it. Ogletree added, we should have been able to close the deal, but it was never possible. We had to go through the record company. It was as though he had no life except that given to him by Death Row. Did y'all hear that? So basically, not DELRAY or Straight Game TV saying that Suge Knight is a liar, but basically Tupac's lawyer, prior to Suge Knight even making that statement with $1 million worth of game, the lawyer basically said this, and he wasn't even calling out Suge Knight. He was just basically stating the facts that existed at that particular time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now you have on one hand, Tupac, him trying to, he wanting to see what Tupac, because he hadn't even seen what Tupac had signed in prison. So he's asking, can he see that? And basically Tupac was basically telling him, as you can see, hey, we supposed to be doing a contract. Can you call David Kenner and, basically, tell him to, prepare a contract so we can get things done. And Mr. Ogletree said he was met with diversions and straight out misrepresentations. Then he goes into to say, factually, like I said, once again, Tupac came out of jail with no money. This is not me saying this, you guys. These are the facts. So basically, there's been a lot of lies told in regards to the life and time of Tupac Shakur. Like I said, the lawyer said, he would negotiate a settlement and would say, good. Tupac would basically say, good. Death Row has my money. Tell them to send the check. The check would never come in the mail. The check would never come by FedEx. The check was never wired. And basically, Ogletree saying that they should have been able to close the deal, but it was never possible. They had to go through the record company. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that? And so when people try to mislead you in the words that they speak, and it's like, just believe me because I say so. You know what I mean? I'm not going to offer you any kind of proof. It's ludicrous what people say. So now you get into the reason and the understanding. But I have one more piece of great information for you that, like I said, once again, when you talk about the Tupac situation as it existed in regards to him leaving Death Row and the reason why. See, most people won't tell you that. But listen to this. And this is in conjunction with all of the things that were happening and the lies being told. By the late spring, Ogletree says Tupac was carefully plotting his escape. He had euthanasia. He had the Outlaws. He had his movie deals. He was building something that was all to be a part of one entity. Like I told you guys about the $80 million deal on the table at Warner Brothers, right? That Quincy Jones helped facilitate. He had a strategy. The idea was to maintain a friendly relationship with Suge, but to separate his business. These are the facts. Like I said, once again, there's been a lot of mistruths and misrepresentations told about Tupac Shakur. I just come to bring you the facts. I leave it up to you to decide. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.